Welcome to Civic Hub, the podcast where local leaders share their stories, challenges, and innovations shaping communities across the country. In this episode, we sit down with the Cameron County Clerk to explore what it's like to serve one of Texas's most unique communities, from the challenges and opportunities that come with being a border county to the impact of having SpaceX in the backyard. We dive into how these forces are shaping the work of the clerk's office and the future of the region. All right, well, this week on Civic Hub, I'm joined by Sylvia Garza, Cameron County Clerk, as well as co-host Linda Holston is in today. So, Sylvia, thank you for making the time and coming in. Give us a quick background on Cameron County, yourself, your role, to help your constituents understand, maybe something they haven't heard before.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me here today. Um, I can tell you that in 2014, I was elected to the position of Cameron County Clerk and became the first female elected to this position since the county's inception in 1848. So we've had all male clerks in that particular position. So very honored, first of all, to be the first female, second of all, to be born and raised in Cameron County and being a product of that county and being able to sit where I'm at today. But I'm there because of the people, but I really, really enjoy my job.
Great. Tell us a little bit about the demographics of Cameron County. Most people listening, your constituents know where it is, but your peers and colleagues and other people, the general public, don't really know. A lot of people call it as part of the valley. So maybe talk a little bit about where you're situated, kind of the different industries that are there, because you guys do have some unique things going on in Cameron County.
We certainly do. Well, our county is the 13th largest county in the state of Texas. We have a population of, I believe, over 450,000 people. I think it's a little bit more. I don't think the 2020 census really caught everybody, but we're estimated to have over 455,000 people living in Cameron County. Our county is very unique in the fact that it's right on the border of the United States and Matamoros, Tamaulipas. It takes maybe, I could tell you, probably 5 minutes from my office to cross into Mexico. So it's right down the street from there. We're very blessed to have South Padre Island, which is a beautiful, beautiful beach resort area, a family-oriented community, a beautiful place to go. I know you've been there, so I know
I have.
it's beautiful.
I have.
We also are very blessed to also have the Port of Brownsville. We have one of the largest shrimp industries in the United States. We have a lot of tourism from Mexico, Canada come into our country. We've got, I would say, probably to me, because I've grown up there, I've seen the county and the city where I live in transition itself from being a small town place to becoming this metropolitan area that's growing and adjusting, and people are seeing the advancements to where we are today. There's just a lot of growth. We just not too long ago now have the opportunity to launch rockets from SpaceX. We've had a lot of growth in people moving into our county from different areas of the United States and different countries. We have one of the largest school districts south of San Antonio. We just have a lot of things going on in our area.
Yeah. It's always unique to think about the dynamics of border counties. And, when you get outside of the Rio Grande Valley and the border of Mexico, things kind of change a little bit. What's it like being an elected official dealing with probably a primary Hispanic community that, maybe English isn't a first language, but yet, as you sit as the elected official, all legal documents have to be in English. So how do you manage your citizen engagement when, probably a good portion of your public might not fully understand English, or how do you guys deal with that? Do you have on the fly translation services? Your staff's probably all fully bilingual. So,
Yes, they are. I will tell you that understanding the job and knowing what the role of a county clerk is a great opportunity, or has been a great opportunity for me to educate the public. And one of the things coming into my position, I really have focused a lot on community outreach and education. And that being from the adults to the children in our community, trying to explain to them what the county clerk's role is in the county, and why that position is an elected position and what we're responsible for. I'm very blessed to be able to fluently speak Spanish and fluently speak English. Although English was not my first language, Spanish was. I have been very blessed to overcome the accent. I have a little bit, but not as much as I used to when I was a kid. But it's very easy for me in my role to explain to the community or to its constituents what our role is and what we can do and what we cannot do. And so to me, that's been a great opportunity to converse. It's been a great opportunity to get people to feel comfortable with what they can come and ask and what we can do for them. And once they understand that process, everything else flows very well. One of the things is the community outreach has been so important to the office because we are actually letting people know what we're doing. And so one of our focuses has been working with the local school districts and going out and educating the students and the teachers about our services, about our historical documents, about what they can do and what they can get from the county clerk's office. When I go out into the schools, I usually talk to the little ones, and they look and they're like, "Oh, what's a county clerk?" And so I explain to them that in reality, I kind of keep a book on my shelves about their lives. And their eyes pop out of their head and they're like, "What?" I said, "Well, I can basically find out when you were born. I will look at that birth record that I have in my office, and I'll know who your mom is. I'll know who your dad is. And if I wanted to be a little bit more nosy, or I could probably find out who your grandparents were. And then I can find out if you get married. I can find out if you bought a house. And if you get in trouble, I'll have a record of that in my office also." And they're like, "You're kidding us." And I'm like, "No." And so that engagement of having them understand what we do in our office helps them to understand the office and what our services are for them. And it's brought in so many students into our office to tour our office, to look at our historical books. When they hear the stories of what's happened in our county, the things that have gone on in our county from the past, it's just amazing to them to be able to do like a storytelling time with them, and explain to them the history in our county and how a lot of what's happened in Texas really originated in Cameron County. When the steamboats came in and when they started bringing in products and we started doing exchanges for cotton, for leather, for our agricultural products, all that, our cattle, all that just expanded all over Texas. But it was really the port of entry that brought in so much of countries such as Spain, Mexico, all over the world started coming into trade, and they started there in Cameron County. Uh, Back when we were probably just a speck of dust in this world, but when we share that information with these students, and I'm talking not just children, I'm talking college students as well. We've been very fortunate to create a partnership with UTRGV and Texas Southmost College to go into the campuses and talk to the students and share with them our historical documents and share with them what's the history of our county. It has been a great opportunity to see them just light up and say, "Wow," and share with them information that's available throughout Texas about the history of families, a history of information on people such as Richard King, information on how the King Ranch came about, information on cattle, on marks, on brands, all that information they never realized that was available to them at the county clerk's office.
Yeah, what's interesting, you can't drive on the highway in Texas and not see a King Ranch pickup truck.
Correct.
And to think that back in 1850, when Cameron County was incepted, it was much larger than it is today. It was quite a bit of, that southern part of Texas, and the story that's associated with King Ranch is a pretty unique, interesting story. It's really cool that you get to go out there and share that, because most people, They see the pickup truck, they don't know the story.
They don't know the story. And when they hear it, they're like, really? That happened here? And,
Yep.
there's just so many things, for example, in our office, we also have a book that has a bill of sale for slaves, right? And so when you talk to the students about that, they're like, that happened here? They didn't have that here. And I said, well, it did happen. But we were very fortunate that even though the United States had not done the Emancipation Proclamation, Mexico had already passed where slaves could go into Mexico and they were free. So we don't have a lot of records on slaves in Cameron County, but because when they would come in on the steamboats, they would usually get off the boats and take off to Mexico. So that's why we have a lot of what they call the mulatto population in Mexico, was because a lot of these slaves that were brought in left and went into Mexico and started their families and grew up in Mexico. So it's very interesting when you start telling them those stories that, most of the college students, when you're talking to them, that they did that here, that happened here. I mean, we have a lot of historical documents, but sharing that information, I think personally to me has been so rewarding, because you see people's brain just light up, and then they realize that they're really living in an area where there's so much history. And the other thing that I translate to my staff is, your job is so important because you're marking today's history for tomorrow. And so we've got to do our due diligence to make sure everything we do is done correctly and that we do it right, so that when we're gone, someone already can come back and say, oh my God, this was happening back in 2025. The information that we have from SpaceX when they started filing all their documents and everything, we were part of that information being filed. When we went through COVID, all the orders that were being signed, allowing us to open up our doors again and to go back into the community, all those orders were happening every day, every week. So every day our county judge would call me, Sylvia, are you available to sign documents? Are you available for this? Are you available for that? And I say available because I got sick with COVID. And so I was out for almost 2 months.
Oh, wow.
And this was when everything started. So it was that education of seeing how important having our meetings and discussing the health of the county and having orders to open up or close down or shut down, or no, people can't gather in large groups. All those things were happening. And my staff was like, what do we do now, boss? I mean, we got down to the point where we were working only with maybe 10 or 15 people in our office because we had people that were out sick.
Mm.
So the county clerk's office is, I think, to me, I say, when I talk to people, I tell them we're kind of like the librarian. We kind of keep all the books, all the stories, and then you can come and check out the book whenever you want and find out what happened.
Yeah,
Have
that's
you
a
all
great way to put it.
have you all thought about creating any sort of teaching tools or resources that people can access maybe online that gives a summary of some of those really unique historical moments or cases? Because I would love to be able to just
We haven't
yeah.
done any of that. What I do have right now is I have a PowerPoint that I share when I go to the university, and I basically talk to them about the books that are in the office. I kind of educate them a little bit about vital records. I educate them on the DD-214s. I talk to them about the new technology that we have and kind of associate the old to the new, so that they can see that we're not just staying behind, but we're moving forward. And then our job is to tell them of why we are doing what we do to preserve our information so that it's there for tomorrow. And so talking to them and sharing that's been really good. I wish we could do something like that, but I don't have enough staff to go out there and do a whole thing. But I try my best. And I think I would tell you that probably one of the most rewarding things has been out there is when we go out there and we do the community outreach and education, because it really allows us to get with the people and be just down to earth and just not go in there and say, oh, I'm the county clerk and I know this and I know that. No, it's just sharing with them stories and tidbits about what's happened in our county, how we've progressed, how we've grown, and where we're going.
That's great. Most people listening will recognize the name SpaceX. How has that been for the county and the community? I know I'm a huge supporter of Starlink. It's the satellite infrastructure we use for the internet around here. I think it's absolutely amazing, but I'm sure there's some local impacts since it's literally in your backyard. You can probably hear and see the launches, which is pretty amazing.
Well, SpaceX has been a great uh, door for Cameron County. It's bringing all kinds of visitors to our area. Like I was telling you earlier, the launches have been like nothing out of this world. I mean, people from all over the place come, and you'll see them parked all up and down Highway 100, up and down, trying to get to South Padre Island, trying to get to Port Isabel, to Laguna Vista to see, what's going on. If you haven't been around, but whenever those rockets do explode, you can feel that blast from South Padre all the way to Harlingen.
Wow.
Your windows will rattle, your beds will shake. I remember the first one when it happened. It was on a early Saturday morning, about 7 a.m., which is usually my sleep date, my day to sleep late. And in the area where I lived, I kept hearing all these. I felt like my bed started shaking, and I'm going, "What's going on?" And all of a sudden, I hear all these people screaming and yelling. And I'm going, "What's going on?" So I get up and I run to the front door, and I see this lady just run out of her condominium, and she's like, "The world's coming to an end in Spanish. The world's coming to an end." And I'm looking at her, and I'm going,
Yeah,
what's
the
going on?
aliens are
Yeah.
here.
And, you see everybody's coming out because everything was shaking. I mean, the windows were rattling. My bed was shaking. The furniture, anything that was on my dresser was moving. So everybody's like, "What's going on?" And then finally it dawned on me, "Oh, it's a rocket." And the lady goes, "Is it going to be like this all the time?" I'm like, "I don't know." But it's happened, I think maybe 3 times already. And you do feel it. You do feel it. And it's a bit scary if you're not used to it, but it's been a good thing. It's been received well, but there are some, a lot of controversy. There's a lot of people that don't like it. They think it's going to damage our environment. We have a lot of Cameron County is very on the map for birding. We have one of the largest industries in birding. So a lot of people that are into the birding come down, and we have all kinds of birds that come down to our sanctuaries. We've got a lot of wetlands. And so that habitat, a lot of the locals feel that it's going to get damaged and it's going to get impacted. We just recently had the president of Mexico, Ms. Sheinbaum, come out and say that a lot of the debris is landing in Mexico from the rocket launches, and it's polluting the water, the ground, and all that, and nobody's really going out there to pick it up. So that controversy with Mexico is there. It's I don't know where it's going, but it's there, and the locals are upset because of the wetlands, what it's doing to the natural habitat of our beaches and our sand dunes and all that. And so now that SpaceX has actually become, is it space? No, Starbase or Starbase City. They have their own city. They have their own community. Now there's some regulations where people can only go to Boca Chica Beach, which has always been known as the People's Beach, because you don't have to pay to go over there. You can just walk in.
Oh yeah, that's south side
of South Padre.
Yeah,
Yes, yes. So now there's restrictions on who can go out there and what times you can go out there, and so it's kind of created a little bit of a push and shove kind of thing. I mean, I'm all for growth. I think it's important for us. Never in my life did I ever think that rockets would be launched from our backyard, as growing up as a kid.
Yeah,
growing up as a kid, who would have thought? I mean, you saw that on TV, and you saw, One Step for Mankind and whatever on TV. I grew up with that, listening to that, and now to have it in our backyard, it's amazing to see that. It's I'm all for us having growth and to going into outer space and learning more, but environmentally, as I see myself and I see my grandchildren now, I realize we have to take care of this world.
Do you know if there have been any sort of remediation efforts in reference to all the things that you just listed? The biggest one, I guess, for me would be if I owned a home in that area and I started experiencing what felt like earthquakes. I would think that structurally it's going to cause damage, but do you know if there have been any talks or
I mean,
efforts to address those
there's a lot of
concerns?
conversation about that. I've not really been privy to all of that, but I know there's a lot of conversation. There have been some instances where people are selling their properties because of damage to their homes from the movement and the shifting of the ground has
Mhm.
caused structural damage to their homes. That's an ongoing discussion.
Mm.
Um, I'm not in the position where I can say, "Oh yeah, this is." No, I don't. But I know that's been a concern by many people. And like it is with everything, we have a lot of citizens that are pro rocket launches.
Mhm.
They like the fact that SpaceX is out there, and then there's another group that's just not happy about it. And I can see both, both sides of it. As an elected official, it's difficult sometimes because you want to do what's right. You want to make sure that you kind of are listening to both sides of the book. But it's a beautiful thing. I mean, the community out there, Spaces, has their own company out there. They have a warehouse. I've actually toured it. It's a great facility. I mean, honestly, going into their building, and going in there and seeing all the advancement that
So
the
you
ro
actually got to go in there and see the rockets
Oh,
and all that.
yeah, yes, I saw the robots working on it, all
That's
the
cool.
guys that work on there and how meticulous they are to put every panel on those rockets
Mhm.
and how the circuits work and everything. It is something out of this world. I mean, literally, you feel like if you ever saw the Star Trek movies, when you'd go to their bases and they have a command center and all that, it kind of feels like
Mhm.
that. They're very particular about people going in there into their company area. You have to give your driver's license. They have to check your background, and then
Mhm.
they'll allow you in. And when you go in, you cannot take pictures inside the area, the work area. They give you a tag so that you're cleared to go in. And if you take any kind of photograph, you've got to take the tag and put it to the back so that
Mhm.
nobody can take a picture of that tag. They got a lot of top security there, but seeing the first rocket out there they have it out there so you
Mhm.
can go and visit what the first one looked like and where they are now. It's changed a lot. They've got a bunch of people that live out there. They eat out there. They shop out there. They have their own community. Now they've formed their own city. So they just recently elected a mayor, and I think they've recently elected two
Yeah.
commissioners. And so they are now officially another municipality within Cameron County.
Wow.
So I believe we're going to have 18 municipalities in Cameron County. And so they're creating their own school district. They're going to be creating their own police force. Yeah, it's a real thing. It's a real thing out there.
Yeah, it's not too often that new municipalities are created, so that's pretty rare.
It's rare that and like I said, who would have thought me growing up and being there and being my primary language being Spanish, that my grandparents would have told me, "Oh, Sylvia, guess what? In 30 or 40 years, they're gonna be launching rockets from your backyard." I'm like, "Well," I said, "Oh yeah, right." But it's happening, and a lot of our communities in our cities, it's been a good thing, but again, there's been some things where people are not happy with it. So we also have a local Indian tribe that's from there. I can't off the top of my head cannot remember the name, but I know a lot of the descendants from that tribe have come to commissioner's court and have protested against SpaceX and their development out there. And I hear them and I feel their pain and their passion because you know um, they're working on they're creating stuff and creating over land that was sacred to them,
Mhm.
sacred to the wetlands, the original wetlands of that area. And we have a beautiful area, a very beautiful area. And to know that at some point some of it may not be there, it's heartbreaking. But advancement is advancement.
Yeah, it's a tough trade-off.
It is a tough trade off. It is
Yeah.
it is.
So, we've talked talked a little bit about your community, some of your outreach programs. When you look forward into the future, do you see the role that you're in right now changing? Do you see any challenges coming your way? What do you see for the future?
I think that some of the changes that we're going to have to embrace is AI, making that something that's workable for us and for the community, making sure that we have a staff that is able to adapt to the changes. And I mean adapt because there's so much technology out there, and basically we need to make sure that we're doing the right thing and that we are catching up with the times because everything's moving so fast. To continue the outreach and education is going to be important. As it is with everything else, most of our senior population doesn't like working with computers, and most everything that we do now is computerized. So having to move everything forward towards that is going to take work, but it's got to happen. It's got to happen. So trying to build a vision towards that is going to be a great undertaking, but I think we are looking forward to that, and we're planning to see what else we can do, how we can change, how we can provide our services, how we can expand them, and not just make it something where it's we can't do that or we can't do this, but trying to find a way to see that we are able to do it and we're able to continue moving forward. But to me, I think the biggest challenge is becoming more AI, uh, an AI operational office.
Yeah. And one of the great things is if anyone from SpaceX is listening, your
Oh yeah.
host county, you guys could really come in there and assist them, and you could probably have the best tech
Mm.
in the United States considering, the rocket launches are going on in your backyard. So,
It's been remarkable, having been there to SpaceX and toured their facility. They have some really top-notch people there. I
yeah,
know everybody that I've met.
smartest people in the world
I
probably
mean,
work there.
super, super smart people, and the advancements in technology are unbelievable. The gentleman that toured us was a military background. It just gave us so much info on everything that was going on, the way they assemble the rockets from the ground up, every panel, every screw they put on there, every wire, how it's put in there and how it's wired inside within the rocket. Amazing. Amazing. The technology is amazing because you don't hear the noise. It just happens. It's like you're walking through and it's all you see is like a bunch of little ants working. You know, it's amazing. Uh, we do have some of the smartest people there working. And I think that for our younger generation, it's a great opportunity because I see when I work with the children that they're like excited about, you know,
Yeah,
being able to see all that technology and
yeah,
robots and all that. It really fascinates
yeah.
them.
Every little kid wants to be an astronaut, and
Yeah.
Mm.
he's got spaceships in his backyard.
Right. And so that's been good. I do think we do have that opportunity to probably learn from them and hopefully embrace their knowledge and their future building towards helping us grow as well. It's going to take a little bit of give and take, but I think the biggest thing we're facing is having to move forward with AI and making sure that technology grows within the department and that technology makes us be at the top of our game.
Yeah. One of the things that we're actively researching now is, can we put together a curriculum for government employees, for county employees that basically gets them not AI certified,
Mm.
but something that maybe we can provide to give to your staff to get them to the knowledge of they understand what AI is. Because AI is changing so fast. AI is already almost an outdated term, and then you have Gen AI, now it's agentic AI. Things are happening
Too fast.
so fast.
Yes, yes.
Uh,
So I'm glad you touched on that topic because I would say probably within the last 8 months, 10 months, I have been working with our local junior college, Texas Southmost College, in trying to develop a curriculum
Yeah.
for my staff to give them an opportunity to prepare themselves and be trained and certified in the job aspect of working in the county clerk's office.
Yeah.
And we've already talked with the individuals at the college, and we're working on modules that would help them go and get a certification. Because let's be real, college isn't for everybody, but training is really important. And I think that training and getting the right people to get that training creates a much stronger workforce. So I want to make sure that my staff is able to grow within their job, but also grow towards being or going somewhere else and being able to take that training and those skill sets to another job or another career advancement. So we have been working on that. We are creating, we've been meeting, we're in the beginning stages of it. We've discussed several of what we've done in the office, how we do things, why they're done a certain way. So we are in the process of getting the modules done. And I'm excited to say that it will probably take some of my employees going to the college and working with the instructors to build those modules. And then what we're looking forward to do is probably hopefully go to Commissioner's Court and create an MOU, a memorandum of understanding, where we will allow the employees to go through that training program and get certified, and hopefully get them to, once they get that certification, hopefully get them a better salary,
Mm.
a training, something that'll help them grow career-wise.
Yeah.
It's in the working stage. It was a thought about a year ago. We talked about it over a lunch, and yeah, let's talk about it. Let's meet, and we've been discussing it and working on it for the last 8 months, and we're hoping that we could do something before the year ends.
Yeah, and that would be great, if you get that built out, and just imagine other counties might,
Want to follow?
adopt it, copy it, and then now you've got a great workforce, not just in Texas, but kind of nationally, that gets their staff up to speed on extremely important topics like AI and workflow and information governance, all that stuff that goes on behind the scenes that when you're hired on for that counter job, you probably have no idea that you're going to be, in 2 years, all your staff will be working with AI on a daily basis.
And we are working on
You might be doing it now.
yeah,
Yeah.
we are trying to implement that. It's like I said, it's still in the future, but we are looking at different resources, different ideas, different programs that are out there about AI, and how that's gonna change our office and how we can implement it so that we can better improve our services, improve what we're doing for the community, and making sure that we're at the top of our game.
Excellent.
Hmm.
Excellent. Linda, any final questions?
I always like to leave on the legacy question or leave it off on the legacy question, but you've been in office for about a decade now. What would you say is the thing that you're most proud of? And then to add on to that, for anyone coming into office in a similar area, like a border town, what's one piece of advice that you would give them that might be unique or not necessarily apply to other areas of the country?
Wow, that's a long one. Okay, you know, I enjoy what I do. In my life, I would have never thought that I would ever be in an elected position, and this was something that somebody said, "Well, you can't really do this or you can't really do that." Why not? Well, because it's always been done by a guy. So here I am. Uh, here I am. Funny thing is, I'm the only girl in my family. I have 6 brothers. So being told, "No, you can't do that," has always been a challenge for me, because I'm like, "Why can't I do it? I can do better than my brother when I was, playing kickball with him, or I could ride bikes better than he did when we were kids. So why can't a girl do that?" So here we are as the county clerk of Cameron County, being in the position that I'm in. I've been very fortunate to meet so many people, talk about the history of our county, the growth of our county, seeing the procedures, the growth of our office, the growth of our services, how we've expanded so many services and where we are. I don't want to be there forever because that's not my goal. I have so many other things that I want to do before God takes me from here. But I would say that I would like my legacy to be um, the fact that we educated the people of our county to understand that as an elected official, it's always important to have a passion
Mm.
and to be able to talk with the people and have them understand what you do. And so, in me leaving, if someone understands that office better and how that office operates, to me, it would be great. But I would like to leave in saying she was not only the first female elected to that position, but she was the first female that took this position and let it and made it grow into something that is where it is today.
Very good. And any useful nuggets of information you could give to your peers that are border counties? Maybe something that you've learned over the last decade that if a border county is listening, they might find helpful.
I think that one of the most important things for me has been trying to identify partnerships within your community, working with your local school districts, working with your municipalities, learning from them, and then going to them and telling them how can we work together. For example, in just a couple of years ago, we took over all the birth records for the city of La Feria. So we got that given over to us. We work very closely with the city of Brownsville. Um, we've worked very closely with the city of San Benito, the city of Harlingen. We have made ourselves available to everybody when we need help, whether it's a time of crisis
Mhm.
or whether it's just getting information. We are always willing to work together, but you cannot be a clerk that sits in your office. You have to be a clerk that's out there and you make partnerships with your municipalities and educate the people of of your community and your county what your job is and what your role is. I mean, I go to schools almost all school year. I'm at visiting different schools. I work with a lot of nonprofits in our community. I try to bring awareness. I try to promote civic engagement because all of that makes my job a lot easier. It makes It makes it a lot easier, especially when you're able to partner with them and they're able to go somewhere and talk right away about your office and what you're doing. And one of my friends works for SpaceX. So she very freely calls me and says, "Hey, I got to go file this at your office. Which office do I go to?" And so she's one of my biggest cheerleaders because she's always telling, if I need to go to the county clerk's office, they're going to take care of me. They have great customer service. They know what I want. They know what I need, and it gets done. So when you build those partnerships, it's a lot easier for people to brag about your office than you having to trying to sell everybody on what you do. So I would say partnerships with your communities, with your community schools, with your municipalities is very important. It helps everyone know what your services are, and it makes it a lot easier for you not to have to tell people, well, we only do this. They'll know. They'll know.
Very good. Yeah, you got to build that ecosystem.
Yes.
Well, very good. Well, I think we're going to wrap up there. Sylvia, thank you so much for
Oh, thank you so
giving
much
us
for having
your
me. I was
time.
so nervous. I was like, what am I going to talk about? But it seems like I didn't run out of words.
No, you're good.
All right. Thanks
Thank you,
again.
guys. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. Mic check. It's co-file Chris with the clarity, breaking down the system like a tech barbarity. Civic Hub's live surfing knowledge like a tsunami, rolling through the info smooth Maserati. Civic vibes, we innovate and elevate. Local government shift, let's recalibrate. Tech meets transparency, the gap we abbreviate. Civic Hub anthem, come participate. Street lights buzzing, city halls we navigate. Machines in the council throwing out the candidate. Blockchain buzzing, Chris gonna moderate. Algorithm steering votes, lines automate. Plug in, gather round this pod like it's holy. Future blueprint drafted digitally solely. Ideas hatch quick, think it's gotta be Goldie. The Civic Hub thrives where the minds all moldy. Policy Vision sharper than a switchblade. Red tape slayer, break it open with the upgrade. AI council, tech dreams don't cascade. We building the future, bricks cut from the data spade.